and welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast with the science and the screaming to determine the best movie for any given year. The year we've been given for this season is 1991. The movie we are tackling this week is Beauty and the Beast. I am Greg, your host, your beastly host, trying to rein in these two absolute beauties. My best friends Ryan and Mike. How you doing, Ryan and Mike?
Good. I thought we were going to harmonize there.
Good.
Wow. Okay, I'm going to give you each a point because you should know that this is a game show, and I will be giving points for cogent arguments, interesting thoughts, maybe like funny jokes, anything that strokes my ego just a little bit, but nothing that strokes it too much. I am mercurial. I'm protean. You never know exactly what I want. I'm shifting and I'm changing all the time.
Hey, Greg, you can give us as many points as you want, but obviously God already gave us the most amount of points, as you can tell by the talent that we just showed when we harmonized what we said.
Seriously. Good point, Ryan. Points get points. Damn. The movie for this week, everybody. Mike, have you not even said anything yet?
Shut up.
Mike,
yes?
Hang on. Do you want to say like a little something?
I think the only beastly thing about you, Greg, is your giant furry cock.
That's...
Ryan.
Damn it, it was a gamble.
I don't think that's unexpected. Like, yeah, furry cock, I don't know. That's like a Beauty and the Beast ref.
Greg gives the other person points when you reveal facts.
Facts.
Mike and facts both get that point. So, 1991, Beauty and the Beast. Let's dial back the old calendar to 1991. What is our initial relationship with this movie? Did we like it as young boys?
I remember sort of watching it, maybe. It took me... I think I was a full-on brazen, brawny adult before I had seen this movie.
Is this movie for girls, Mike?
No, this is the first movie I really remember seeing in theaters. I was at a girl's birthday party solely. I think I told the story before where I was just like...
Even young Mike.
Young Mike gets to get candy. Do I do ring pop? Do I do push pop? Motherfucker does both.
I'm fat, so I burp and fart.
I know,
always
Mike.
have been.
I
Always
know,
will
Mike.
be. And
I believe that our intro episode for 91 was filled with this story of Mike and the Beauty and the Beast date.
But this is the first crush I remember having was on Belle. She's pretentious. She's kind of an asshole when you actually listen to what she's saying, and she's in the books.
You brought a girl to a thing where you would get a crush on a different girl? Are you
I didn't bring her. She had a birthday. She brought me.
Nice. I love it. So you
love it.
But you developed a crush on Belle.
On Belle, in love with the movie, got super into the stage show. I know the song that isn't in this movie, Being Human, that they cut, or Human Again, that they cut. It's great. Guys, I fucking loved Beauty and the Beast as a kid.
It's a special kind of person who says, I know the song that was cut. You know? Like, there's the nerds that are like, I've seen all of the deleted scenes from a movie with director's commentary, but the musical nerd who's like, I know by heart the song that was cut.
Yeah.
But I will not name an alt-right fascist movement about that song. The Proud Boys are from a cut song from Aladdin.
So you say that's a banger, the one that they cut? Because sometimes
Human
you
Again,
hear a cut song and you're just like, I get why that was cut. But sometimes you hear it and you're like, damn, dude, that song had energy. It was different.
Yeah. It was romantic. It's just it was too much about the servants and the serfs, and this movie obviously doesn't care about them.
Gotta be about the aristocracy, right?
Also, this fucking movie was like, hey, we're already at 91 minutes. No more songs, thank you. And I stand and applaud to that.
Yeah, oh man.
So that's us bouncing baby boys in 91. Without going into too much detail, how do you feel about it now?
I do. I think I tend to trend towards the old to say is better. You know, like I either am a weak person, or I put too much into the test of time. And yes, I understand that this has stood the test of time. It's 30 years, but before that, there was like 60 years of other Disney movies that are supposed to be classics. And I would say that this not only stands up with all of the classics that Disney's ever made, but it also has the responsibility of restarting.
Yeah,
and people say it's a Little Mermaid, but the Little Mermaid kind of looks like shit. compared to this.
Yeah.
Oh,
dude.
this is gorgeous.
This is the one that like sort of restarted the Disney that we still have to this day. There is no world domination by this corporation without this movie.
Mike, do you agree, disagree?
I totally agree. I also think what you love about it as a kid, as an adult, it's not problematic the way like the crows in like Jungle Book are like, but it is if you're only caring about a message, you're not going to enjoy art in general.
Cool life,
But
bro.
I think the message is more complicated because I think the adult message isn't everybody an asshole in their own unique way, and I don't think you picked that up as a kid.
I was about to get into detail, Greg.
Don't
so
get-
I'm
don't
sorry.
you
I'm
do
very-
it.
I'm sorry.
Oh my
Paint with
God.
broad strokes only, Ryan.
I'm just being honest right now.
So something I realized while watching this movie was that I saw it in theaters when I was a kid, and then I saw it maybe one other time on VHS, maybe two other times on VHS.
Oh, with that big clamshell?
And on VHS, it looked like shit. It looked like kind of blurry, and this from the very initial shot of this movie, which I watched in 4K this time, I was like, "Holy shit! This is the most beautiful thing I've ever."
It's legit
seen.
3D.
Yeah,
like there are the
they
way
go
that
out of their way to add the third dimension,
And it's
that
just
was
the stained glass window look in the beginning, and it still looks 3D.
That's the other thing.
Fucking
It's
crazy.
And it was like Miyazaki. I mean, it was like Studio Ghibli beautiful. Like I could not believe how beautiful it looked, almost to the point where it's distracting. And then in almost every other way, it is a fucking perfect movie. I cannot believe how much I was into this movie. I was entertained nonstop, and I was like, guys, it feels winterish. Like, I cannot believe it, but this movie feels fucking winterish.
I think because I think you could still chew into it. It's surprisingly funny. I did not remember.
It's hilarious.
And I laughed as an adult, laughed throughout the whole fucking movie.
Yeah.
Isn't that's so weird? Like as a kid, you'll just watch a movie and like, oh, I laughed the entire time. But as an adult, you're like, I laughed 2 times, and then there was like a quarter time with like a quarter laugh. I have a count of the amount of laughter, and 2.25 laughs for a movie. Incredible. Like that means it's one of the funniest movies you'll see all year.
Well, some people, and I'm not going to say who,
Mike.
but some people got a little close to saying something in detail there.
Oh,
all
I'm
right.
sorry.
But when we come back, that's when I'm going to want you to use detail and punish you for not doing it.
It's so confusing.
What a world!
It's like Guantanamo.
What a world! What a world!
Beauty and the Beast is the story of. I mean, is there any reason to give a recap of this movie? We all know what it's about. We've all seen it probably a million times, and we all know how good it is. But do you, though? When was the last time you really watched it? This movie is amazing in just about every way a movie can be. It also has many apparent problematic elements, which we will get to. But before we do, gentlemen, Beauty and the Beast was the first animated movie to be nominated for Best Picture. 30 years later, we have to do this every week. 30 years later, can we still see why this specific movie was chosen as the first one?
So much of it had to be like the way you just described it in 4K, Greg.
Yeah.
It had to be the way they watched it on the big screen, not in VHS, because I don't think critics are watching VHS, but just to go,
getting those
holy
VHS
shit.
screeners, can you even imagine?
Oh man, just the heaviest fucking thing. Just it's sweeping, and I don't know if you could. Snow White is not sweeping. Little Mermaid is not sweeping. That there are like awe-inspiring shots
Cobra
in this
Kai?
cartoon.
That shot that like right after Gaston proposes, and it's kind of the reprise of like the Belle song, and she runs out of her house, runs through the forest, and then you come up over the forest. The camera pans above the forest, and she's just in this South France like valley, and she starts singing. I thought I was gonna cry.
And they're
that's
mimicking
so
that. What's that
beautiful.
painting? The girl in the field painting. It's clear that they're just like put that painting in there, but like Barry Lyndon style, just recreate a painting.
I think what's so important here, and this is why when it comes to movies, like besides Citizen Kane and Vertigo, but like when you actually talk to film lovers about movies, they always talk about Godfather. And the reason why Godfather was such a commercial and critical success and got all the awards because it was a very modern movie that was all other movies from the past and predicted all of the future of movies. And that is it for live action. And Beauty and the Beast is that for animation. Like, it looks and feels exactly like it felt when you went to see Snow White on opening day.
Right.
But it feels so modern as well, yet has CGI animation in it. It feels like the future. This is like all of these feel, and like I don't know if you were able to articulate all of that back then, but
No, come on,
because
we
they were
just
so
like,
stupid.
threw up a
I mean,
little.
Yeah.
the IQs were so low, and I am strictly an IQ person. But
oh yeah, now and forever, right? Big IQ guys.
yeah, just IQ tells you everything you need to know about a person. But yeah, this is everything that we need from a movie because it makes me okay with present moviedom and past moviedom all at the same time. That's what we're always struggling with.
And I think that this movie gets a lot of credit for doing big things right. You know, the we can talk about whether or not we like the CGI. I think it looks pretty good, but
It's not blatantly,
No.
obviously,
No.
like different than the rest of the movie.
but as much as that leads the story of it, what this movie does perfectly is all the small things. If I can quote Blink 182,
All the-
yeah.
Greg.
It's the little
All the Greg.
all the Greg. It's like all the throwaway lines, all the like backup parts in the singing are not just good, but they're so present. I have never heard in a musical audio that is so present. It feels like you're watching a fucking stage production and you are actually with these performers.
They do a wall of sound moment in the end of Be Our Guest,
Yeah.
where you can no longer understand what anybody's saying, but because their voices are blended with the symphony, and then it also harkens back like when they're brave enough to break the animated look, like the beginning and the end with the I said it earlier, and I've heard it for stained glass look,
Yeah.
and then in Be Our Guest where it goes to that old school like Fantasia
Impressionistic
Disney,
kind of,
the
yeah.
weird shit, and they're just like, look, we're just gonna like they really went like, what does the emotion of this scene actually call for visually, and went with it.
that and a lot
so
of
fucking-
chafing dishes were singing. Then they were full of soup, and that's hard to understand. Actually, I did understand that.
Some of the serfs have faces
Yeah, we
and
gotta
some
get
do
into
not.
Mike.
Either it's horrifying to live without a face. What I've come up with to not be completely horrified is the ones with faces were people. The ones without faces were chafing dishes that have come alive because every inch of the castle was enchanted.
And there's this-
That's tough though, right? If we're saying every part of the castle is alive, right? That's tough because even if they don't have faces, dude like hauls off and just breaks furniture left and right.
That's
those
That's
folks?
why
Those used to be
Lumiere and
folks.
Cogsworth.
Those are folks.
That's,
So he's
yes,
just like-
those are folks, and that's why they're actually always so scared. I think that's how Chip got the fucking chip, man. He gave that kid
Oh, no.
an indent into his skull.
No, it's his teeth. It's
No,
his
come
Well,
on, that's on top
hey,
of his face.
Greg, you could have multiple indents, okay? Teeth and skull. And that's why the Ottoman, which is sort of moving around but sort of not doesn't have a face, that's why it's a dog. It's
Yeah.
like the perfect middle ground between human and furniture.
Is,
Oh, I want that.
Do you guys
I want
ever
to
put
fucking,
your feet up on your dog?
oh yeah,
No,
dude,
she's
that's great.
11 pounds.
And
it would kill her.
Oh yeah, okay. You have a dachshund, right? So that would just snap her in half. That'd be awful. Like her spine is so long and thin. But if you've got like a meaty dog, it will sit there for like 10 minutes with your feet on it, and then finally it's like, "Fuck, stop!"
You know what?
today.
If I can do this to you, then this can continue. Otherwise, get the fuck out of
So
here.
we agree that the CGI, like, I feel like it blends in, and you don't notice it. I noticed it maybe more this time because the 4K really like showed you where those pixels
Yeah.
were.
But if I was 8, I would be so sucked into the entire movie that within 5 minutes, I wouldn't even think about. I wouldn't even think about the fact that this isn't Toy Story.
Yeah,
And then after the 5 minutes, I would not be able to pick out what was CGI and what was not.
yeah. I think it's just a few elements, right?
Yeah, they really use it the same way Spielberg used it in Jurassic Park. It's blended,
Yes, yeah.
and that strengthens all parts.
Yeah, because really, honestly, what takes your breath away in this is just the cell animation.
Yeah.
It's the backgrounds. It's like the people, they move a little bit herky jerky. It's still animation, right? It's not totally like computer smooth the way we have now. But each still frame of this is like a Barry Lyndon style painting, as Mike said.
And for me, like,
Mike.
I don't want to like damn with faint praise or anything, but I was listening to an episode of the podcast Script Notes recently, and they did the movie Die Hard, where Alan Rickman falls off at the end, falls off the building, and it's such classic '80s green screen.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
It's
Like-
almost endearing.
Yeah. But that's it.
You can see he's laying on a mattress and just flailing his limbs.
But like that's it. Is that like its lack of realism almost puts you more into the movie than if it looked super real, but you knew that it wasn't. I know that
Yeah.
sounds weird, but it's hard to explain. But so many times in this movie where there was clear, almost like layered animation, like that background, and then they put a character here, and then they put a
Yeah.
character here on top of it, almost like a Photoshop. How it looks so much less real than like the water in Moana or whatever.
Yeah.
But still took me away more. Like, I was more into the fantasy because of what a book it looked like. And this could just harken back to because I was a kid when there was cell animation. Maybe
but it felt good,
this is
didn't
dust
it?
for a kid born today, but it felt wonderful.
It felt so good to see those lines, right? To see things like not completely like lined out, but instead that sort of like trick of like just one line to suggest.
Right.
Yeah, that stuff like really, it felt good.
And this is painted, but this is drawn, and then this is CGI. That's crazy.
And that's what we want out of a cartoon. I don't want cartoons to keep getting more and more realistic.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want our cartoons to look like these video games where you're like, I can recognize that actor. Like, that sucks. Like, and especially if it's a fairy tale cartoon, you want it having that fantastical element, even in the little French town, which is why I assumed they moved herky jerky because that's how French walk. That
a lot of people don't know this, but the hitman's wife's boyfriend, the hitman's wife's bodyguard, all animation. That's how real it looks now, yeah.
It's too good.
Yeah.
I think too good.
That's amazing. Pretty sure they're not going to have to pay these actors anything.
How many times while watching this were you guys like, oh yeah, it's France?
You know, when I was a kid,
two characters.
I literally had no idea when I was a kid. And now that I understand history, France and England, they bleed into each other a lot.
Sure.
But usually you have more than just two French people in your French town.
Wait, that's how racist France is that they have more than 2% French people? That's crazy to me.
How about the music in this? I mean, I feel like the animation gets a lot of like cred in this, but isn't the music like almost perfect?
Yeah, I don't know if there's a snooze song in here.
Mike, you and I are bad to ask this because most people our age and gender hate musicals.
So it means we're the best to ask this.
Sometimes they call them snoozicals.
But I would say that this is the best of that because the music flows in and out of the story so much better than almost any live action musical I can think of.
Well, what they remember that they like not all musicals, but the ones that remember the rules. So we meet Belle's I Want song is blended with the Meet How This Town Is, and that's so smart because often those are separate. And then Gaston's song is He Is Down in the Dumps, and it's the way like the way it's like, nope, this is the heart of this character right now, and like the aching, like, Be Our Guest is the big show-stopping number, right? And I just kept comparing it to Friend Like Me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, right, hard not
holy
to.
shit, is Be Our Guest such a better song than Friend Like Me. You can see the sweatiness of Friend Like Me wanting to recreate the magic of here. And just to fully, you thought you were in a fairy tale before, now we're fully entering it after this song.
This musical
I'll put Be Your Guest in the top 10 scenes we've ever done in the history of Movie of the Year.
Yeah, and it's not just the music; it's like the whole staging of it.
It even has that moment that some musicals have of in the middle of the song, we're going to tell the sad story of this idiot Cogsworth,
and like the explosive everything coming together, and you just get like almost overwhelmed by the amount of stuff you're seeing.
The Busby Berkeley of it all. There's a point where all of the teacups start dancing in a circle, like. Guys, that's a Disneyland reference right there.
The music is very operatic, and so I think that's why you get that intense layering in that, right? Is because it like kind of like is a reference to opera.
And I'm sure there's a, I don't know, more eloquent and musical way to say this, but Mike is right. If you end your song with nobody understanding what anybody's saying, that means it was a big deal. That's epic.
How much of modern cinema is nobody understanding what anybody's saying? Wow, this movie looks good, but everyone's like, and the music's like, brah, brah.
Greg, we should write Boomhauer the musical.
Well, we have said everything we absolutely, positively love about this movie. All that's left is to come back for another segment in a second.
Mount Rushmore!
We are here standing beneath the majestic, the incredible Mount Rushmore. And I think, guys, we're all blown away, right? This is just, man, look at this hunk of granite.
Honestly,
sure as a rock.
I don't know if it is granite. Maybe I'm just taking it for granite.
Greg.
I just think they were all presidents, right?
I think, that's who these cats were, right? These are all presidents.
And that's just an amazing, like, position to have, you know?
Yeah, dude.
Demands so much respect.
It's up there.
If you don't respect the man, respect the position.
Respect the office, please. Yeah, definitely.
Or at least the Office UK.
Right. A little meaner, but a lot funnier, The Office UK. Check it out. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pull these guys down because we're not into this anymore. But we're going to put something else up, and it felt like maybe the thing to do was to take the best music or the best musical artist from 1991, and maybe put them up here?
I love this. Like,
is that nutso butso?
We're going to pull these presidents down, and we're just going to do 91, and everybody's like, okay. Yeah. Music. What the fuck?
Why'd you keep talking? I don't get it. Why didn't you just stop after we said okay? It's like, because there's more magic to come. Mike, why don't you go ahead and give us someone you think deserves to be up on this 1991 mountain of music?
Thank you. And now for music, there's musical groups. There's solo artists and there's groups. Should I submit one from the group?
One from the group.
Or at least we'll pick a head at the end. And yeah, but
okay. Everybody was into hair metal. Moms were dancing on top of cars.
Moms
everybody
got
had
really
big
into
leather
hair metal in 91. That's true.
And then one band was brave enough to say, hey, do you know what would be better? Better music. What if these songs said something? You've heard the Pixies? Oh, you haven't heard the Pixies? Thank God, we're Nirvana. Nevermind came out and ushered in grunge in 1991. And that is why Chris Novoselic, I think, should be on the top of the mountain.
Okay.
The one guy from Nirvana that nobody could ever remember?
Yep. Did you hear me not remember his name? Do you
remember
the one who went into politics?
Remember that show where Prince threw the guitar up and it never came down? But it was like
Chris caught it?
There was some like Hall of Fame, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, something, and Prince threw his guitar up and it never landed. I remember a show where Chris Novoselic threw his guitar up 1 inch or 2 inches maybe, and it came down directly on his head.
Yeah,
and right on his fucking face. He is a doofer.
I have a different person for Nirvana if Mike's turn is over.
No. I'm submitting Nirvana, obviously, you fucking jackass.
And Nirvana,
you can't
of course,
scoop this.
Mike
goes right up.
Was it going to be Pat Smear, Ryan?
Kurt Cobain,
guitars?
Kurt Cobain wore flannel and sweaters, and that to me is 91.
That is pretty 91.
Well, we're definitely going to put Kurt right up there. I've been watching a little bit of that Beatles documentary that all the kids are crazy about
is he
right
in that?
now. Honestly, John Lennon reminds me a lot of him, like the little jokes he makes and the fact he's a big weirdo.
Addicted to heroin.
Totally addicted to heroin.
And that heroin's name? Yoko Ono.
Yoko Ono. Boom, Ryan. Well done. Okay, Ryan, who do you think should go up on this mountain?
I am going to try. And Mike, I don't know if you agree with this sentiment, but I'm going to try to make Kurt Cobain the symbol of grunge.
Yeah.
Right? I don't want to fill the mountain with flannel.
Yeah, right. So you don't want to do like the Pearl Jam.
And that's so hard for me because
you love Pearl Jam.
That's your band.
I do. Eddie Vedder is 5'2", and I think that's crazy because the way he sings.
Eddie Vedder is your Otis Anderson. Hey, if you don't get that, go subscribe to our Patreon.
Seriously, you're missing out on great content like that,
Honestly,
including us being willing to literally do anything for money, which we said all of us on that show.
Honestly, I think that if you don't get that, like you don't need to describe or subscribe to Patreon. Like you just get how.
You do need to.
You
subscribe
should,
to
but Kurt
Patreon.
Cobain is basically Otis Anderson for everyone, whether you pay for us or not.
I think we can all agree.
I don't know if this is far away enough from the Seattle flannel, but the voice in my head when I think about 91, also addicted to heroin at the time, is a little guy who did that heroin under different bridges than the ones in Seattle. This is when blood and sugar and sex and magic were the top 4 things on everybody's list. It's Anthony
Wait, should
Kiedis.
that just be the Rushmore? Blood, sex, shooks, and magic?
Yeah,
Have you ever had that cereal, by the way?
It's a little coppery.
Oops, all blood. Aw, man. Do you not want that? I'll take it. Up to my castle. Okay, that's fun.
That was the end of the commercial.
Yeah. That's the only mascot where the kids, when he comes around, the kids are like, yes, you can take the cereal.
Please get the fuck
We don't
out
want
of
a
her
box
face.
of blood. Please go away.
We won't fight a cartoon villain in order to keep the cereal.
Have you seen Count Chocula around here? I'm going to fuck him up. As a Southern California boy, I am legally obligated to put the Red Hot Chili Peppers up here. I'm just going to do RHCP, and then later I will forget that. And then what should we do, Anthony Kiedis or Flea as the head?
I think Anthony Kiedis, because Anthony Kiedis was also the star, had a one line in the hit 91 film Point Break.
Yes, Ian Point Break. He's an actor. He's a double threat.
Flea had a line or two in the hit 1990 film Back to the Future Part 2.
Is that true?
Yeah.
He played
He was
Marty
Needles.
McFly's boss. Needles.
No, he wasn't his boss. He was the guy who would always race him and call him a chicken.
His name was Fleetles.
Important correction by Mike there.
Look, don't step to me when it comes to Flea.
Seriously, yeah. Back up, everybody.
Don't step to me when it comes to Flea.
It's clear the way I live my life that I saw Flea as a young boy and went, I think I should model decisions off of this guy.
How do you live your life?
I'm fat, so I burp and fart.
Yeah, okay.
Just like Flea, baby.
1 quarter pounder at a time.
Mike, it's back to you. We already have 2 of these heads filled out. Who else even was doing music in 91? I can't even remember at this point.
I think even though he might say he's in a corner, I think we need to pull him out of the corner.
So not
Put him
Baby.
right over that mountain. It's Michael Stipe representing REM. This is when Out of Time came out, and this is what blew them up from college radio to everybody. This is Losing My
This
Religion.
is Losing My Religion.
Ladies and
time.
gentlemen, this is Losing My Religion.
Yeah,
Shiny happy people.
Mike, radio show idea. I just announce songs, and then you just sing them with your... You sing the guitar part with your mouth.
I would listen to that.
But you wouldn't be able to, Mike, because you'd be on the show.
Oh, shit.
By the way, I was listening to radio on the way over here. Do you guys know how to get the radio at 1.5 times speed or 2? Man, they are talking slow on that thing. Hello.
Kevin and
welcome.
Bean fucking mush mouths.
Have you noticed that podcasts, they've just started speaking even slower? So it's like,
yeah.
you have to
if you're
get-
accidentally on one speed, it feels like,
sound
did they all do
fucking
ketamine?
drunk.
What the fuck
You
happened?
know what I think?
Or have you done that thing where they will have a guest that is not used to being on podcasts? So at 1.5 speed, they will sound normal, but the guest is
Like a
the fuck up.
chipmunk?
Yeah.
I have to do it. I have to put REM right up, and I guess it's gonna.
Oh my goodness,
I think
Greg!
It's gonna.
That's crazy.
It's gonna be.
Patreon listeners know that this is not how ProStars worked.
No, ProStars that's tough because that's kind of like my domain. You know, I'm like.
Well, that means waiting for Lakers or Giants.
Yeah, I just waiting to feed me. But I don't have like really a favorite band from '91, so I'm just excited about all these. I mean, come on, Nirvana, Red Hot Chili Peppers, REM. But let's get some maybes going. Let's cut through a couple maybes. Ryan, I think it's to you correct?
Yeah. You don't know what a maybe is yet. You haven't even heard. Okay.
I'll know it when I hear it. I'll know when I hear it.
This may not be her peak year, but it was the year where she was the biggest artist on the the Billboard charts, not the Blockbuster charts. Those were for videos. I'm not going to tell you who the artist is. I'm going to do some build up, but I will tell you the name of the album.
Okay.
Was Mariah Carey. And this was the album that had the song Someday, where at the end she went, and then opened garage doors and turned on chimpanzees with the amount of notes that she could hit. Do you guys remember Mariah Carey in
They're
1991?
easy to turn on.
I do remember Mariah Carey. Is that an urban legend, or did she actually hit a frequency that could open garage doors?
The legend that I heard that is not urban is that she drove around in a car around a neighborhood with me, and we opened garage doors, and then we
and they just like
French
took the
kissed.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's the dream, right? She just like opens up that mouth, opens up the door. You run in there, grab golf clubs, grab a toolbox if you can. Maybe go through the glove compartment of the car. Some people keep their wallet in there, right? And then you just jump in the car, and you, Mariah Carey, go right next door, open the next garage.
Greg, this was 91. Everyone kept their keys in the
Like
mirror
under
thing.
the sun
Yeah.
visor?
So
Yeah, that's-
we had a lot of stolen cars.
That's so true. There's like 18 movies from this time where people just walk into a car, and then that's the one place they look. There's keys right there. Excellent. Well, you know what, Mariah, I'm sorry. I'm putting
This is
you
sexist
on the maybe
and
pile.
racist.
I don't know if I agree with that. Mike, do you have someone you think belongs on this mountain?
I do. In 1991, a little group had their sophomore album come out. It's on Rolling Stone's top 500 albums of all time. So many albums you love, Greg,
Yes.
would not exist without this one. It pushed alt hip hop so far. Jazz was something all over the place. Low End Theory. I'm saying it's Q-Tip on there representing A Tribe Called Quest.
Tribe.
It's what launched Busta Rhymes just because he guested on a couple songs. He got his career started from this.
Busta
We
Rhymes
got Scenario.
is a fun rapper.
the rhyme.
Who we don't get a lot of.
Yeah.
anymore.
He's dope.
I don't know why we hate Busta Rhymes. He didn't do some alt-right shit.
I don't know. Are we upset with Busta Rhymes? I remember he
He's
did.
very good at his job.
Yeah, he's so good, but I feel like he only pops up every once in a while.
Yeah, he's fucking
Where are
awesome.
you, Busta?
I love his voice, but I really love him. on a guest verse.
Yeah, right.
And then you're
You
like,
don't
oh
want
shit,
the whole
but
thing.
like the whole time, yeah.
I can't imagine a whole album. It's like, hey, here's a whole meal of hash browns. Like, whoa, a little bit of hash browns is fine.
But yeah, it was only getting into Tribe that I was like, oh, this is why he's great.
He's one of those guys that he's like, I'll be on your track. But then inside his head, he's like, it's going to be my track.
I'm going to bust their asses for sure. Bustin' makes me feel good.
Bustin' makes me feel good. All right, Tribe Called Quest in the maybe pile. Ryan, who else you got?
This is the year. I think that the band that took us out of the 80s and into the 90s, besides Kurt Cobain, was a gentleman who put on wraparound sunglasses in the 90s, the only type of sunglasses, and said, we should fix the world, shouldn't we? And also I'm going to make the greatest rock album of all time.
Scottish superstar.
Sonny and... Wait, Cher... The Sonny Bono. Sonny Bono is what I was trying to get to. It's Bono.
Bono of U2, so just not U2, but Bono.
Bono. Well, yeah, I mean, I know that they have the edge, but it's Bono that would go on this mountain. Because the wraparound sunglasses. Do you know how fun that is for a mountain designer with chisels in hand to design those wraparound sunglasses?
Can we just have Abe still there, but with Bono's wraparound sunglasses?
Absolutely.
He's going to look like a weird conservative reply guy, though, right? It's going to look like that. Those wraparound sunglasses. You look like the kind of dude that like posts up outside Walmart and films yourself crying about having to put on a mask.
His were like a little bigger. His were cooler.
Yeah.
Bono rules, man. U2 gets a bad rap.
We do. Ryan and I do get a bad rap. Thank you, Mike.
I am not as offended by Bono as so many people are, because I think that a lot of his shit is correct, even though he's very annoying about it. And man, is he still paying for the fact that he delivered an album right to everybody's phones. That is still on his ass.
We lost our heads a little bit about that, I think. I think looking back...
I'm sorry we got a free gift.
Yeah, I don't think we should have like gotten the torches and pitchforks. I mean, we turned into the mob from Beauty and the Beast.
In the fucking meantime, they're syringing goddamn microchips into your arms so
Also,
people can follow you.
Raised by Wolves on that album is fucking awesome. There's a couple of really good tracks.
If anybody bothered to listen to the album, it's not bad.
They had to apologize. We're so sorry that we give you our music for free. All right, let's see. Bono there. Mike, you have another guy you want to throw on the maybe?
I do.
Quickly.
I'm getting the sense that you didn't put Greg, you didn't put Tribe on because you said you're a West Coast boy. So I'm going to introduce you to another West Coast boy. His debut album, Tupacalypse Now, came out in 1991. It changed the West Coast game. It, of course, is Tupac Shakur.
Tupac, in many ways, a rapper better than Eminem.
In many ways.
But not a better actor. Eminem's a better actor than Tupac. You'll always have that big guy.
You'll always have that.
I'm still a fan of Poetic Justice. We need a special show for Poetic Justice.
So it finally gets its poetic justice?
I think we should have a type of show called Call Your Shot. And if you say... Like, you just call your shot.
You have to back it up.
Any movie, yeah. Like, but like, we will, it's a lot of work, obviously, and you have to be the host. You have to do all the shit. But if you call your shot, I think any movie, any year, you should be able to do that, right?
I love that.
That's why in the intro show for 91, I fought for Last Boy Scout as hard as possible until right when I was about to quit. And I was like, oh, bummer.
I just edited that, and you're like, okay, guys, mask off. Here, I got to say something here. I'm sorry. Okay, sit down. Are you sitting down? Lie down. Okay, lie all the way down. All right, put your hands on the ground. Okay. I'm not gonna say Last Boy Scout. I'm sorry, everybody. I think it's because you voted for Hook instead. Ryan, do you have somebody else that you want for maybe?
I do have one more person, and Patreon listeners know what it's like to have Greg as a host. So
a treat and a delight.
I will say James Hetfield was the king of the Black Album in this year.
Oh, dang. Oh, man. That's
not that son of a bitch, Lars.
No,
never be mentioned on this podcast.
Obviously.
I want to sue children.
Oh, man. I was very out as a Metallica fan at that time, and people would like flag you down like, hey, you like Metallica, right? What the fuck is their deal, man? Why are they trying to ruin such a cool thing? I hate this. Meanwhile, we were just talking about how U2 tried to give their album to everybody for free, and people freaked out even more about that.
People suck. People are strange.
Do not sell your album to me or give it to me for free. I will hate both of those.
Let me steal it and be fine with that.
All right, let's see. Mariah Carey is out.
Oh, this is insane.
James Hetfield is out straight away.
Yes.
Bono is out. I'm going Tupac.
West Coast represent.
And I think we'll just use his head because it's just a guy.
Mike.
So your 1991 Mount Rushmore of music is Kurt Cobain's head for Nirvana, Anthony Kiedis' head for Red Hot Chili Peppers, Michael Stipe's head for REM, and Tupac's head for Tupac's head.
I like the evenness. 2 long hair, 2 no hair.
Yeah, you know what? I'm
How every
always
group of friends
to...
should be.
Yeah, got to bring balance, man. Got to bring balance.
Beatles 2.0. That's a good Beatles, right?
I would listen to the shit out of this Traveling Wilburys.
When we come back, we're going to get into maybe some of the problematic elements of the movie. I don't know, everybody.
Hey, guys, thank you so much for listening so far. And let me just tell you that everything ahead of this commercial is much better than what came before it. That's my guarantee. While I have you here, let me tell you about a website. It's called yourpopfilter.com. And it's everything you need that's related to Pop Filter. Everything Mike, everything Ryan, everything Greg, everything Cassie, everything is there at yourpopfilter.com. While you're there, go to yourpopfilter.com/Amazon. Make that your new Amazon bookmark and do your shopping from there. That way, we get a little piece of the action and Amazon doesn't. Make sure you're also listening to everything that Pop Filter has to offer, which includes the Superhero Show, a podcast that covers every single TV show that's based on a comic book or comic book property, and Movie of the Year, where we sit down and try and figure out what is the single greatest movie of any given year. That's Superhero Show, that's Movie of the Year, and that's yourpopfilter.com. Rate, subscribe, review, bye!
Beauty and the Beast continued the Disney Renaissance started by The Little Mermaid. But it also continued Disney's streak of featuring cringy, problematic aspects between its romantic leads. Does the way we look back at this relationship now completely sink the rest of the movie?
I was so ready to say so, right? Like, I was so ready to, like, draw swords. Mike, were you ready to, like, fuck this movie?
A little, and it felt for so much of it, it's like, well, you clearly, Gaston has to be here to make the Beast look okay. Like, this clear, like, I will murder your father just so I can coerce you into marriage. Then it's like, well, anybody's going to look good next to that.
That's true, but I love the pairing of these two because not all heroes
wear capes. That's true.
Not all heroes like act the same, and not all villains act the same. Mm-hmm. And I love the two of them together because most heroes are actually, they do act like Gaston, and
right,
you know,
he's a Captain Hammer type.
Sometimes if you look at people that act like the Beast, then maybe they're not as bad. I like the two of them together were absolutely necessary. You couldn't just have the love story without Gaston.
They're foils for one another. But am I wrong to say that the memory of this movie, like our collective memory of this at this point, is that it's very problematic because Beast captures Belle and imprisons her, and then those are the conditions under which she falls in love with him. But and that's so, like, when I put the movie on, I crossed my arms across my chest. Sure. And I was like, okay, movie, like, you're on notice because that's not appropriate to do. And then the movie started and my jaw dropped and my arms just went straight up in the air and I began pumping them up and down, going movie. And I, like, at the end, I was like, wait, wasn't I supposed to be offended by the stuff in the middle?
If you subscribe to Patreon, you will get a picture of Greg going downhill on the roller coaster of him watching a movie, just arms in the air, loving it. I think that this is because of the background cast, because I remember this movie being like, Beast is an asshole for a long time, and it's basically Stockholm Syndrome, the movie, right?
Yeah, right, yeah.
But Beast, every time Beast says something, his entire background crew of little things in his house is like, Beast, what the fuck, man? What are you doing?
The one time they're not afraid to stand up to him is when it comes to how he's treating Belle. That's when they're finally like, I don't care if I get smashed, man. You cannot treat this girl like this.
For how long were they living like that? Where they didn't say shit?
10 years.
10 years? And now Belle comes in and they're like, dude, knock it the fuck off, bro.
But how much of that is them caring about Belle, and how much of that is they are like, we have 3 weeks left before this guy turns 21.
And I would like to be out of the prison.
And I would like to not be a fucking teapot.
Okay,
Mike.
Granted, but that gives us a little wiggle room, right? I feel like we go pretty hard at movies sometimes that have problematic elements, and so I think this movie does, and I think we have to own the fact that, for me at least personally, I should speak for myself, I have to own the fact that I gave this movie a pass. I didn't mean to, but it was such a white hot fire of entertainment. I couldn't.
There's that. I would also argue, and it's a kids' movies, and it's blessedly only 94 minutes.
Delicious.
I think that in the time they have, he arcs. Belle doesn't arc. Belle is the same who's like, I hate these French people that I live with by the end of the movie. But he opens up and learns it's not just like, I'll get what I want this way. He learns how to become a better person.
And it does sort of happen in every scene. Like,
yes.
There's not a ton of time where it's like, I'm the beast and I'm terrible. And I will be in this scene and the next scene and maybe one more. Every scene, it's a little bit different. And I know that there's problematic aspects. And I know about how, like, maybe Belle should have found somebody else. Or Belle really should have picked herself and books. And that should have been it. But as far as Disney movies go and how fairy tales have to have this sort of, like, path, every single time that Beast does something, he's like, you will get out to dinner. Shit.
Yeah.
Shit.
And also she's like, no.
Yeah.
Fuck off. Like, I'm not going to do what you say. It's not appropriate the way you're acting. She says that to him like 5 different times. But he still does like rage out in front of her and break stuff all around
He's
her.
emotionally abusive. Let's say it.
I mean,
he is an 11-year-old that, and I don't want to get too much in the next segment, but he was an 11-year-old with no parents who was punished for his entire life. I would have anger problems too.
And that's the thing, right? Because it's an allegory. I mean, at the end of the day, it's a parable about how you have to grow up to be in a relationship with somebody, right? And the reason he's a beast is he has not conquered his urges. He has not conquered the violence inside himself. He has not learned how to say no to himself.
Or found out, like, why it's bad. Like,
to not do that.
This hurts other people when I do this thing. You know, it's just like, well, this is my first instinct, and so therefore I get to do it. I get to be au naturel.
And he has been totally alone for a very, very long time, so he's not used to living
He probably
with
fucked that
somebody
French
else.
maid duster.
I was going to say just sticking his furry dick in Miss Potts' nose.
Jesus, Mike.
God, that's too much. We should brief aside here. Brief aside. Who is hotter as their object rather than as
French maid?
The French maid's hotter as the maid, or is she hotter as the...
No. When she stops being the dust brush, it is the hottest cartoon I've ever seen.
Yeah, this movie's very horny, and she's drawn a little bit too much.
I think the only person who is hotter as the object is Chip.
I was gonna say Potts, the bureau lady. They're both hotter.
Yeah, bureau leader is thick.
Yeah, I definitely think they're hotter.
I think Beast is so much hotter as
Beast
a Beast. When he
is
turns
like
into some patty-lipped fucking idiot.
a million times hotter as the Beast. Like, I've never been a furry person, but like when it comes to the Beast, he's so much cuter. And one thing I like about the movie is when he starts melting into a dude, Belle for like the first 30 seconds is like, oh, I don't know if I like this dude. And then she looks at his hair and she's like, he's still furry. That's okay.
If we're going to get into this shit now, do you guys predict in Beauty and the Beast 2 that Belle's dad is going to fuck Mrs. Potts?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
there was something about their blocking, just being next to each other, and he was like, good one, Chip. He's obviously...
He's like the stepdad.
I want to be a stepdad.
Yeah.
He got a new lease on life, man. I respect that so much. Like, oh, dude, he used to be a teapot. Hey, I'm like an older bachelor. Do you want to I don't know, I'll raise your kid?
Sorry, we both have the same body type and height. Let's just get together. And also, Chip
You're
is the
a
one
little
person
teapot. I'm short and stuff.
Chip is the one person who's figured out how to use his invention. So part of it is like, I want to date the mom because I love this kid so much.
Yeah, that's adorable.
Jerry Maguire style. That kid knows how to use my invention.
I love that. That's actually really nice. There are other problematic elements, and let me point out just one. Not to be no fun over here, but isn't it really weird that there's 3 other women in the town Belle's age, and they're all the same woman? Are those literally triplets? Because I don't really.
They're triplets.
Are they? Okay, because the movie never says that. It just gives them all the same face and then the same voice, and they kind of share lines.
But it is still Gaston's the hottest boy, Belle is the hottest girl. Therefore, they should be together. And those triplets are never thought of. Maybe if Gaston talked to one of those triplets,
yeah, dude,
maybe they would
honestly talk to all the triplets. You got an inroad there, dude. But also, it's France. I know it's hard to remember, but you're in France right now.
They call French kissing.
It's such a they don't even do pecs over there. It's a tiny French town, and there's so many attractive women in here. You don't just get Belle and the triplets. There's The one
the
of
lady
the
who needs to buy eggs.
The vendor that's too expensive. The vendor who gets hit in the head by his wife because he's looking down the girl's shirt.
Oh yeah,
like,
that lady.
There's a bunch of attractive ladies in this little French town.
If you grow up in a town like this, your husband will say something outside of a window, and then you will have your own window to pop out of and hit him on the head. That's just part of growing up in a town like
That's
this.
France, baby.
That's just how it works.
Ryan.
Also, we're sexual weirdos, so
Sure.
but like this movie is so incredibly horny, and then it also has Chip constantly being like, "What are you guys all talking about?" But all they're ever talking about is like love and stuff.
But in Parks and Recreation, making out was code for fucking.
Yeah,
Right.
And that is
Parks and Recreation was like 8 seasons of never saying the word sex.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But Belle and Beast are 20 and ravishing. So they're going to ravish each other. So that the older adults are obviously just talking about how these two are going to go to Bone Town.
even when he's the Beast.
Hopefully. Sorry. I mean, sure.
When we come back, we're going to do some more drafting of director.
Hola, Filterinos. I just wanted to interrupt real briefly and say thank you for listening. Thank you for your support. If you want to support us a little more directly, you can go to patreon.com/yourpopfilter. There, depending on what tier you pick, $1 a month, $5 a month. If you're crazy, anything more than $5 a month, don't do that. You can get extra content. There's extra shows, extra series, behind-the-scenes stuff. You could pay for Ryan to draw you a picture. I can write you a poem. You can get the shirts off our very own backs. All of that and so much more over at patreon.com/yourpopfilter. While you're on the internet, you should check out Shady Monk. He does all the tunes you've been listening to. He's on Bandcamp. He's on Spotify, SoundCloud, wherever kids get their music these days that I'm too old to know. Shady Monk lives there. You can probably follow him on Twitter and Instagram as well. That's Shady Monk. Wherever you get music, check him out.
Because we fundamentally don't really understand how to have fun here, and because we make everything competitive and just set up games to hurt our own feelings.
I do make things more competitive than you do.
That's true, Ryan.
I think I make them a little more competitive than you do, Ryan.
Ooh, okay.
Ooh, I don't know. That's so argumentative. We have been drafting directors. The rules are we draft directors, and then nobody else is allowed to see the movies from that director, which we have all been following.
Yes.
I just watched No Sudden Move the other day. Finally, I saw the Soderbergh movie.
How was that, by the way?
He's on my team, and it was wonderful. And I can't talk to you guys about it.
Yeah, because I don't know anything about it because I ain't seen it because I'm not allowed to.
And Denis Villeneuve made Dune?
Dune, yeah. A little movie called Dune.
What is this movie you speak of, Greg?
Yeah,
I just watched 1984's Dune and have been talking about that when people talk about the modern Dune.
And you don't even have David Lynch, so you can get him tonight.
And those people get pissed off.
I don't tell them.
Talking. I like that fish guy. Wait a minute. And you know what? I forgot the order that we go in because we have one static order, right?
Is this a joke, or did you... It's you, Mike, me.
Me. All right, so I'm going to pick somebody who's got a little movie coming out. And I checked the list so many times, and this guy has not been picked up yet. And I think it's because we don't know how much he has left in the tank. We don't know how many miles per hour he's going to lose on his fastball. But he's coming out with a movie that I really want to see, and that I think probably Ryan wants to see as well, but he won't be able to because I'm taking Steven Spielberg.
At the time of this recording, the critical embargo has been lifted on West Side Story.
Yeah.
And people are just like, I'm sorry, it's one of the greatest movies that has ever been made.
Yeah,
And
man,
now you
would have
can't
loved
see it.
this.
And now I can't. And
You
I love
would've
the
loved
original.
it.
Shit.
Yeah, man, it would have been so good.
Also, lyrics written by Stephen Sondheim, R.I.P.
Oh, man. That's true, huh?
Yeah.
And now you hate
And-
Sondheim because you're not going to go see this movie.
And so he still has it in him, Steven Spielberg.
I know
to
I say
get
this
it
about
done.
every draft pick, but fuck Greg, fuck this pick. This is my pick. This was
Yeah,
for me, and
I
he stole
know.
this from me.
You know what you did though, Ryan? You're like, I can leave him out there as long as
Oh,
I
yeah.
fucking want.
No, I
have
really did.
literally all game to get there. And I was like, this is my thought process. I was like, somebody brought up West Side Story, and I was like, oh, I want to see that. And I was like, oh shit.
Wait,
Am I allowed?
Am I allowed?
And then I went and I checked the list, and I just kept checking it. I didn't even use Control F. I just kept checking over and over and over again.
This is an absolute batshit idiot moment for me and Mike. Like, He has probably
Stupid, dumb
12 more
idiots.
years or 12 more movies in him, at least.
And 3 of them will be worth it.
But I did read the rules of the director draft, and if you say right away after the pick, this is bullshit, this is stupid, this should have been mine, you actually get him. You
No,
or her,
no.
you get the pick.
No.
If you yell out, I'm not doing that, then
If you put your fingers in your ears and you go, nah, 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 nah.
all right, I feel so good.
Good
about
pick,
that.
Greg.
I
That's a
feel
good
so
pick,
good about putting that guy in my stable.
In the 9th round, by the way.
Yeah, dude. All right, so then it is Mike's turn now.
Yep.
I wish I had remembered this guy a couple months ago because it would have been even that much more satisfying. But if you haven't seen his back-to-back movies that just came out, you can't now. I'm taking Ridley Scott.
Oh, damn. I am such a late to the party Ridley Scott guy, but this hurts. Can I still watch his shows?
These are my
Sometimes-
number 1 and 2 choices for tonight.
I know.
Good.
Dude, when you look at the names, it's starting to get either you have to be super speculative, like this person's made one movie,
Or like Ridley Scott, 88 years old.
yeah, so
Right.
but you're gonna get a little bit. I want to see what he's got, but I can't.
I loved Aliens, and for some reason I think it was the 88, and then I was like, oh wait, the 2 definitely worthwhile watching movies, if not fucking amazing movies, just came out. He's still got it, baby.
We have a Ridley Scott movie in this season.
Which one is it?
Thelma and Louise.
Oh my
Oh,
god!
shit.
Yeah,
And
nice.
now you guys can't watch it. Ha.
And no, we
I'm
can
gonna get so
watch
many
it.
points.
And we can watch Last Duel and House of Gucci from this year. We just can't watch anything after this Mike pick.
Okay. See, that's why I
And
said I wish I had got him a couple
also-
months ago.
Bullshit. That's one of my guys. I'm gonna take Ridley Scott.
No.
Well done, Ryan.
Thank you.
Very well played. All right, Ryan, it's to you for 2 picks now. So you've had your heart broken. Can you manage to hurt either Mike or me?
You guys did. Yeah, you guys took everything that I wanted, but to keep them away from you, now it's time to go full Ryan.
Okay.
I'm going to bring out the full Ryan here.
All
And the
right.
first one is Noah Baumbach. Mike, who is Noah Baumbach?
Noah Baumbach is just like this hoity-toity New York fuck. He did The Squid and the Whale. He did, what was that one with Ben Stiller? Greenberg.
While We're Young?
No, Greenberg. And he
While
did
We're
While We're Young,
Yeah.
which was very good. I love Greenberg.
And he's Marriage Story as well, right?
Yes, Marriage Story.
Yeah, that's like what I
Married to
primarily
Greta?
know him from.
Not married, but
With.
I mean, might as well be
Shacking
married.
up with.
Shacking up
Living
with, yeah.
in Sin. That's pretty hot. I like that. The kids are doing that.
Nothing's cooler than 2 fucking screenwriter directors living with each other, just talking about movies all day.
Hey, you know when we had that fight earlier, are you going to use that on anything?
You mean when I punched the wall? No.
Because I might. Oh, did you want to? I don't know. I was thinking maybe.
Oh, that's the worst existence, right? Like, if you're a filmmaker, marry a scientist or something.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
2 filmmakers together seems intolerable.
peering at each other over the tops of their laptops. What are you writing right now? Nothing.
Slowly, their head comes up above the laptop. Or the worst. Hey, can you read my thing? And then they read it, and then they snicker a little bit, and they're like, "Oh, what'd you laugh at? Oh, what did you laugh at?"
No, that's not. Let's not
You,
get
it's because you
into
don't
it.
get it.
Ryan, what does Baumbach have in the pipes? Do you know of anything? He's
I
coming,
don't.
like,
I
down
honestly
the-
don't. Nothing. He's got Greta Gerwig in the pipes. if you know what
No,
I mean.
boo.
Noah Baumbach is actually into pegging, Mike. So right. I'm just assuming there, but that feels like a pretty easy assumption to make. So I'm going to evaluate this round, and honestly, there's not a person alive who could think that I didn't win that. I like to give you folks the points because you're the ones actually competing.
Esteban Spielbergo in
Well,
the
no,
ninth
no.
round.
We're allowed to watch his movies from now on, Ryan.
Yeah, that guy's not even in a union.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, Ryan. So who are you on the turn? Who are you going for?
I think that this is. I don't know. I don't know if I could probably wait on this guy, but I'm gonna go with Pedro Almodovar,
Yeah, you don't want to you don't want to wait on guys anymore, right? You're gonna get your heart broken.
who has a movie coming out this year, and I think that I'm drafting him just in time before it comes out.
Okay, so you're barely getting in there. What other things has he done?
Voltaire.
Uh,
I'll allow you to answer.
My Mother, the Star.
Okay.
Not Under the Skin. What's
That
the one
was
where?
Jonathan Glazer.
Huh?
That was Jonathan Glazer. He was my other pick. So
No. The one where Antonio Banderas slowly surgeries somebody into his past
It does
love.
feel like that's called Under the Skin, right? Into
Beneath the Skin, maybe?
Beneath the Skin.
Beneath the Skin.
That movie
Yeah.
was so fucking good and weird.
That sounds scary. I'm afraid of that one.
This is the guy. This is the I would say the Spanish king who gave birth to the 3 that I believe have all been drafted. No, one has not.
Cuarón has been drafted because he's on my team.
And Del Toro's been drafted, but
He's
the
on
other
Mike's
one
team.
that nobody likes has
Yeah,
not.
we're all like, whatever.
Boo! Thumbs down to you. Get out of here.
But yeah, he's probably got 5 more good movies left, so I'll take him.
Mike, who are you taking?
I am taking. I think I could wait on this and not like. Well, who knows? You can't wait long anymore. I think I could wait even longer, honestly. But
Steven Spielberg.
It's weird. Nobody's grabbed the ET guy. I can't not see his next 2 movies that he's filming back to back. I think I would cry. I cry every time I watch one of his movies. Every time I've seen it, it's Better Luck Tomorrow is an amazing movie, and then he is the creative helm behind Fast and Furious's best films. It's Justin Lin.
What are his next 2 movies? That
Fast 10 and Fast 11.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant like you were gonna cry because they hit a certain point for you. Like he was gonna make his Roma or Belfast.
Every time I watch Fast 7, I cry, Ryan. So who knows what he'll do to me?
Well, that's beautiful. That you probably didn't like. You were probably under threat from me, but maybe Ryan on that one. Do you think you could have waited on that, Ryan?
He could have waited on that one.
Yeah, I think he could have waited on that one a little bit. I mean, I got Steven Spielberg.
Right.
Yeah.
In the 9th round.
In the 9th round. So that felt really good. I think I'm entering into I'm afraid not to pick this guy territory. He made Looper, which was super.
Oh, shit.
In the 10th round?
Shit.
He made what is probably, I think, going to go down, and listeners, correct me if I'm wrong here, as the greatest Star Wars movie ever made.
The greatest non-original trilogy Star Wars ever made, for sure.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's not better than those other ones. It's an upsetting movie. It even made me upset the first time I saw it, but The Last Jedi is an amazing Star Wars movie that expands the potential of what a Star Wars movie could be.
It has creativity and life in it.
Wait,
Yes.
Mike, where are you? Where does The Last Jedi rank on your Star Wars rankings?
Oh, so high up. I enjoyed it versus the last one where I was like, even in the giant lightsaber fight in front of tidal waves, I was like, this is boring.
Dude, I tried to watch that again because I was like, you know what, Greg, you didn't give it a fair shake.
It's not a movie.
It's so bad.
From the second it starts, you're just so angry. Like the famous line, the Emperor's back somehow. They're just like, get on with
That's
it.
how you make fun of Star Wars, is how they fucking open that movie.
Did you guys ever see the Will Smith, Jared Leto Suicide Squad?
Yes.
And how I didn't, but everybody said that it wasn't a movie.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about Episode 9. It is not a cohesive, coherent thing that you could call a movie.
That's because they were done with all the photography for the film. They were done filming it entirely, and they were right near the end process of editing it. And they made changes that they just didn't have the film for. And so they ran things backwards. And,
That's
what
crazy.
Well, I would say that this was a destructive Greg round.
Yeah, Greg crushed.
Yeah, I got to give it to myself again. And then, of course, I've just finish up the Ryan Johnson thing. Knives Out.
Yeah,
I've seen twice. The first time I was like squirming in my seat. I loved it so much. And
Knives Out was so good that most Last Jedi haters were like, fine.
Yeah,
I guess I liked it.
For sure. That is such an amazing movie, and it's even better the second time, and I wouldn't be surprised if it's better the third time. And you guys can watch that one, but that's where it stops.
You can't see the sequel?
You can't watch anymore.
You know what's a good idea? Have Ana de Armas in your movie.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
I just watched the latest Bond movie.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Ana de Armas.
There's a little movie called Blade Runner 2049. Maybe you've heard of it. Yeah.
Is she a big giant hologram?
It follows that rule very closely. All right, when we come back, our last and final question about Beauty and the Beast. Well, that is very, very funny. Or very sad, and perhaps now you have something to think about. Or very problematic, and perhaps we have something to think about. But in any event, I'm sure you have some reaction to what you're listening to. So why not check us out on the social media? You can go to Instagram or Twitter and find us at YourPopFilter. Email contacts@YourPopFilter. Hey, everybody. Keep watching them movies. What is the moral / message Beauty and the Beast is trying to get across? How successful is it? And can the film hold up even if its message doesn't? Now, this doesn't have to be we don't have to re-legislate the feminism stuff.
Right.
Which the movie falls down on, but that's not really the only kind of weirdness in here. What ultimately is the message of this movie?
It's so, I don't know. It's like, I think it's muddy because you could point and you could be like, well, the message is it's what's inside that counts. But then that is not true because the beast becomes a handsome prince at the end. So it's clearly that wasn't.
Yeah, like, right. They didn't do the Shrek thing, which we will always give shout outs to Shrek.
That's the thing Shrek did right.
Right? Yeah, that it's not that he has to turn into a prince. Fiona turns into an ogre. Not that it matters. Much curvier as an ogre.
The proper thickness.
Yeah, so, not that that's the point of anything. But this one does the opposite, where it's like, don't worry, everybody. He turns into a dude, but kind of a weird dude.
A weird dude, yeah.
Yeah.
And it does seem like that is a shallow reading of the movie anyway, if you think it's going to be that, because in that first song, everybody sang, it's crazy how hot Belle is.
Yeah.
Because she's a fucking weirdo. So it's already instantly the movie's saying, like, we're not saying it's what inside what counts, because sometimes what's inside people don't like.
Yeah.
I really do think, I think I said this in the intro, I really do think the actual message as an adult watching it is everybody is an asshole in their own way. And we all kind of have to get over that. Even the sweet dad is a dickhead to Philippe the horse.
And Philippe is a very good horse.
He's a great horse.
Man, Philippe is part of a long line of Disney horses that I understand they are not real, but that I want to hug. So bad. That feels like that would be a great hugging horse.
Bullseye from the Toy Story films.
Oh my gosh, that's a good one.
The horse from Tangled.
Yes! Oh,
Tangled does not get enough
friends.
play.
We definitely are friends. Dude, you will always get points for repping Tangled. I'm a big Moana guy, but before that, it was Tangled, dude.
I don't understand. Frozen is a mediocre movie, I think, with one good song. Tangled fucking rips from minute 1 to minute 94, and I don't get why that didn't take off.
You know why? Because I think Frozen is more accurately aimed at kids. I think Disney is always trying to walk this line between we want to entertain the kids and their parents, and I think Tangled probably strays a little bit too far towards parents. So we liked it, because we are at least slightly closer to mentally like parents than children.
Our bodies are decaying like parents' bodies do.
Yeah, definitely, dude. I've got like dad bod for real and a dad sense of humor, but no children. But one adorable cat who really,
that's all you need.
In a lot of ways, that's like the same experience.
Are you ready to become really weird? I've been thinking about this a lot as another childless adult. And will remain to be so that like we're going to be so weird because that's just what happens when you don't have your energy to pour into something.
Yeah, and it's like, we'll know, like, Ryan is a parent. In fact, he is away doing parenting duties right now. He's not just sitting here quietly. I can hear his daughter, like, protesting against her bath right now. But, like, do you remember when your parents would have friends that didn't have kids?
Yeah.
How they seemed like not real people? Like,
I loved them.
But they were deeply weird, right? They were the weirdest people you would know. Right. Yeah, so you're making a great point.
Wait.
And that's just me. And what can you do? Like, real talk. Is it even ethical to have kids?
I don't think so. In this economy, in this climate?
No, yeah, probably not, right? So honestly, like, not only is it the right thing to do, but you get to be a super big weirdo.
Yeah. Spent so much money on fucking children's movies.
I'm a 40-year-old dude in a Spider-Man hoodie. When I go to the store, people think that like I'm trying to snatch their kids.
No, I just want to talk to them about comic books. Which would be immoral, which makes me think of the moral of this movie, Beauty and the Beast.
Oh, dang!
And on the surface is like, well, he was rude to the witch, and that's why she cursed him and his entire castle. He was 11.
Yeah.
He didn't have parents.
Yeah.
Her punishment was way too much. She had that spell prepared. I know how magic works. You don't do it right off the top of your noggin. You have to do the prep. She is basically fucking magical Jigsaw from the Saw movies, where she's just like, oh, here's the lesson I've decided you need to learn. She sucks.
Here's what I think this movie is ultimately about. And this is why it's hard to get into the weeds of like the moral dilemmas because it is so hardcore allegorical. Right. What I think this movie is ultimately about is what is appropriate violence. Where
Greg.
where should violence be pointed? Because the movie does not say we must abhor violence, right? It embraces violence, but it has to be violence correctly channeled. And what Belle teaches Beast really is you have to point your violence at the enemy. You have to point your violence at the things that are trying, the wolves that are literally at our door.
It's okay to be violent when you're protecting something you care about.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
We don't like violence when it's from Gaston, whether it's silly violence or violent violence. It does seem icky in the movie. But when the broomsticks and Bagnobs and Lumiere and Cogsworth fight, it's great. Yeah. Because they are defending their home. So it is like, justified violence.
And there is something about the way that Beast won't fight at the end, where he's like so depressed. He's such a sweetie, really. Like he's too heartbroken to fight, and he in that moment he is rendered pathetic so far that the audience, I think, almost is like, Beast, come on, man, this is awful.
Somebody should shoot him in the back.
He gets shot with an arrow. He falls out a window, and he's just like, guess I'll just die, until he sees Belle, and once again Belle reminds him, no, we need violence. You have to point that violence at the right target. And that's what's really bestial about him, right? When they have that snowball fight, he's about to end her life with a snowball because he can't totally erase that violence. Right. And she won't let him. She does not want to erase his violence. She just puts a boundary around it. She says, you can't direct it at me. You can't direct it at these other people around us, but you can't extinguish it. We need your violence, and we need it to go the right way.
Look, and if you're in medieval fantastical France, sometimes you're gonna need to be a little violent.
And when half of the things are wolves, and it's like there's not quite that morality there, but he does like fight, and then the guy dies. It's obviously Gaston's fault, but what does he do? Gaston misapplies violence, as he does over and over and over again.
Well, he applies violence to literally everything.
Yeah, right. And,
if his best friend says something slightly wrong, he punches him right in the nose.
Even if he's happy, he's like, the way he's happy is destructive.
They build him up, and we know Gaston's good again in the Nobody Drinks Like Gaston song, because he starts beating the shit out of the rest of the bar, including fucking biting them.
Yeah. he will Mike Tyson bite a bitch.
He takes it from we're silly wrestling boys to, no, I want to murder you guys on now because I feel good again. It's messed up.
And because he's the alpha, right? And so his violence, all the violence travels from him downhill. And in this context, what are we to understand about the townspeople? Are they perhaps a soft candidate for the true villain in all of this?
Because I wanted to argue that Belle is kind of an asshole. I've said it a lot through here, because in that first couple songs, they're just folks. They just want to live their lives. They like the provincial life. They don't need the snob telling them why baking bread is wrong. But then at the end, how quick and how slavering they are to do violence, because they heard there's something in the woods.
And they're weirdly obsessed with her in a way that I think rings really true. I think that in every community, the community members get obsessed, right, with the young women and with how they're leading their lives. And they become emblematic, right, of the values of the society. So the fact that she is a reader and is different, that is a smirch on the entire town in their mind. But they have her imprisoned before she ever gets up to the top of the mountain. Right? She's in a prison of the town's devising. And then they are turned so violent so quickly.
And their smiles when they're trying to kill the tools are perverted, and the guy is ripping out the French maid's feathers.
Yes, that was upsetting.
It's rapacious. I don't know, is that a correct usage of that word?
Yeah, a hunger, a ravenous, angry, destructive. Yeah, I half expected her to come back with a leg. Right. Because he ripped off chunks of her. There were a couple times this movie that I exclaimed, even as an adult who has seen it multiple times. One of them was when the book gets thrown in the mud, and then again when Gaston puts his feet on the book. But when that French maid starts getting the feather duster feathers ripped out, I yelled out. I yelled out. Ryan, do you want to weigh in on the morality of this?
That's the question, is just the morality of the movie?
Man, we were right there. We were just about to hear what Ryan had to say about that, but unfortunately, no. It's time for a speed round. Lumiere and the Feather Duster are about even as appliances, look-wise. But he's punching way above his weight class once they're both human. Shit, this should have been a topic, shouldn't it have?
Stop talking about how ugly the Beast is when he's no longer the Beast, and start talking about how ugly Lumiere is when he's no longer
a human. He is so suave as a candle.
Yes, dude, that guy looks hot as a candle, and then he turns into a dude. He is a bigger dog than the
younger
Ottoman.
brother, Bambit, and Bambit ain't got no game.
Ryan.
Very true. That's one ugly man. And she looks at him and he looks at her, and she basically has what Belle's dilemma is the whole time, which is there's not that many dudes.
Yeah.
You know, you just gotta pick the least offensive one, I guess.
He's got the charm. So you can get charmed. And everybody same in the dark.
He so clearly fucks. Like they have fucked as a candle and as a duster.
Yeah, they've had intercourse as those two appliances.
And that's how Belle escapes, is because they're behind that curtain fucking.
And not that like we judge appearances. But she's smoking hot and he's ugly.
Yeah, and we would never judge appearances, but we just happen to kind of notice.
Scientific fact.
We just sort of noticed. We already talked about the broken furniture, but like, was that distracting to you at all?
Yes.
Thinking about like this guy breaks stuff, that's people, or do you kind of think some furniture is people, but not all people are furniture?
There's an entire
like
wing.
rhombus rectangle sort of thing going on.
Yeah,
rhombus. What is it?
All rhombi are rectangles, but not all rectangles are rhombi.
Something like that, yeah.
Mike.
Pretty good. Pretty good. How messed up is it that Belle never learns Beast's name?
Dude, she's all like, he's so rude. She never once is just like, I can't just call you the Beast, right?
Is your Christian name not the Beast?
Is it Esteban Spielbergo?
I think perhaps it is. Be Our Guest is probably the most famous song in this, but is it the biggest banger? What do you think?
I think scene-wise, it is.
Okay,
and
so as a scene, yes.
I think that like
Ryan.
it's really unheralded as one of the most satirized things of our generation. Like this shit, we have seen this shit in a million different ways.
Imagine that, like, we got to see the source material first, right? Like, we don't have that experience with Citizen Kane. We, like, saw Citizen Kane laid out to us like an absolute harlot by all of the different ways in which it was referenced.
Just
right?
a straight tart.
We had seen all of her goodies. But when it comes to Beauty and the Beast, like, we saw the source material first, long before See My Vest. Probably the second best run at this song is See My Vest. Would you agree with that, guys?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's made of real gorilla chest. Right? So that's pretty good.
Greg.
But like as we've said before, I do think that Beauty and the Beast, the song, is fine.
Yeah.
I don't know if Angela Lansbury is the diva that you want, as opposed to like Beyonce or
Wanted
somebody.
to get Cher to do it.
Yeah. But they got Murder, She Wrote. But the provincial town does not get enough credit as
That
like
song's so
being
good.
the greatest I Want song introduction to the society that we're in of all time.
Killer recording, killer mix. Like, that is just really a well-mixed song. That feels like listening to an ensemble cast.
Also, remember playing a video game as a kid and you were like, I'm going to knock on this door. And they'll be like, oh, here's a large part. I'm going to talk to them. I'm going to hit A and talk to the person inside this house. And they're going to give me a large part of the story that I'm about to enter into.
Yes.
That's what this song
Thanks,
is. But
town.
way more fun than the town parts of Zelda.
I want to call it the so many times there's like either a goofy sidekick song or a villain song, and they smash them together in the Nobody Drinks Like Gaston. I think this might be the pound for pound best Disney musical. Like, all the songs are great. That song is super stupid in the best way, super funny. LeFou is doing like the Buddy Hackett role from Musical Man, the Music Man. It's great.
Did you notice that LeFou at one point is like, he becomes a snowman, and Josh Gad played both Olaf and LeFou?
That was one of the moments that made me legit laugh out loud, was seeing LeFou as Snowman.
This does get the award that I think all movies that we've done for Movie of the Year gets, which is no Josh Gad. Yes. And congratulations to this movie.
You somehow avoided it. That is the end of the speed round. When we come back, it's time to get to some awards and one recommendation. Awards. I wouldn't mind winning one.
This is one of those fucking movies that actually got nominated a bunch and won a bunch.
Yeah, dude, it won so many. I don't even want to go
why
there.
did you do that?
It went
Let's
up
skip.
and down. This is one where we're like, Academy, we see you and we agree with you. This is not a Green Book. This is something different than that. But They didn't give it enough awards. Not for me. Not by a long shot. So I want to give it some more. Mike, what would you say is the most over a kid's head moment? And what do we mean by that, and what is it?
I think often it could be like the Shrekification of cartoons.
Okay.
Is there so many things that are like, that's for the adults. But for this, it's
like
not,
when you use Hey Now, I'm an All-Star. And
Yes.
kids don't realize that's an
Kids
absolute bop.
Yeah, and it came out years before Shrek.
Or when Shrek tells Fiona, I'm going to smash your mouth.
Oh my God, that's so
And he means
awful.
it sexually.
That is, well, of course.
She's not before I spit
you know
yours.
what, Fiona? I mean that sexually.
But this is a joke that's like, for adults, it's not sexual. It's and it made me chuckle so hard. Is Cogsworth is doing the tour, and he's like, and this is from the mid-Baroque period, and they say if it's not Baroque, don't fix it. I was like, that's not for any child who watches this movie.
And then this motherfucker, he laughs.
He
Of
laughs.
course, he's going to be the one to
But
laugh.
Yeah,
it's a
dude.
great joke, and I loved it.
I guess I thought it was time for a joke.
This is why, Mike, you and I are best friends. I'm the Cogsworth. I'm the idiot mustachioed pun maker to your life.
Yes.
Ryan, what do you think is the most over a kid's head moment?
There's a lot of writing that is on the internet about how Shrek ruined what Beauty and the Beast started.
Uh-huh.
Because what if we could actually be earnest and genuine and make wonderful romantic things? And Shrek was like, what if we took a piss on our dump? Like, Shrek sucks, man.
Shrek
Fuck
does suck.
Shrek.
Yeah, we are an anti-Shrek
We
podcast.
did 2001, and we didn't even put Shrek in the top 8.
We do like curvy Fiona Ogre, but besides that, fuck Shrek.
We love our curvy ogre.
Yeah, dude.
But my over the head thing is, I know that the award sort of alludes to it being sexual, but the way that I laughed super hard, and I don't think a kid ever would, was how Gaston bragged about how everything he owns is decorated in antlers. And that's just such a fucking type of dude.
Oh my God.
Oh, he's such a type of dude.
Yeah.
Don't believe me? Ask the antlers, I think he said.
This movie is the original, like, hey, found a new type of guy, and Gaston is the guy. All right, Ryan's getting the point. Everything he owns is absolutely covered in antlers. Ryan, this might be the same answer as the other one, but what do you think is the award for Gaston might be the best or worst Disney villain? What does it mean, and what do you think it's going to win?
So what I'm trying to do here with this award is I'm trying to pick something that isn't classic Disney villain thing,
Yeah.
right? Like, he does so many things, like stab a guy in the back when he's not looking, when he's trying to like make his romantic move.
It's bad. You shouldn't.
That's classic Disney. But
Yeah.
what is like pure Gaston evil? And I gotta say, Greg, I think it's I have called the entire town to witness our marriage,
Dude.
and I have not even asked her if she wants to marry me yet. And he says that to the camera like it's a joke.
Yeah. Can you believe it? She's gonna be so excited when she's all the trouble.
This
I
guy
went
is the
through.
Bam Margera of the Disney world.
Bam and Jared, I'll be marrying Belle all day.
Butter her house, I'm allowed to.
All right, what do you think it is, Mike? What's the Gaston best worst?
I think what sets him apart makes him like truly loathsome, and so many moments do. But it is he pretends he's this big tough guy. He rules the roost of the town. The minute the Beast is winning a little, he turns into this simpering little bitch. And he's just like, I'll do anything, but just please don't hurt me. And the Beast puts him down, turns around, and then he stabs him for the second or third time in the back. It's that just like, I will be a sniveling worm if that'll get me out of this, and then I'll pretend I'm tough right away right after that.
And that's why this movie ultimately works, is arc out of your beastiness and don't be Gaston, right? Like,
Yeah.
arc out of it. But it's still like, start as an incel, get the girl.
It's nice to have such like an obvious foil.
Yeah.
Like, it makes watching the movie a lot easier because you're like, oh, that guy is a foil.
that guy's worse.
I also would have. I'm going to pick a winner now, but I also would have accepted when Gaston shows his hairy chest and confuses everybody. I'm going to go with the
Mike.
Bam Margera. I'm going to marry Belle all day.
That was me.
That was Ryan.
Whoopsies. Skadooshing that one away from me so I don't have to deal with it anymore. Who gives the best P for P? That's pound for pound performance. Mike?
I think I thought about this a lot. We'll see if I did.
You're not sure if you did that.
I want to say it's Robbie Benson as the Beast. I think he's the one who's asked to do the most emotional work.
Uh-huh.
And he does various levels of rage. He does guilt. He does depression. He does in love. And I think he fucking crushes it.
All right, Ryan, what do you say?
I have to go with Greg. And this was back in the time where you didn't have to hire like a French person to be a French person.
Yeah.
It's Jerry goddamn Orbach, the lead singer of Law and Order.
Dun, dun.
The guy who was who like literally put baby in a corner even though you're not
Yes.
supposed to.
What
He
a
didn't give a shit, dude. He's like,
And-
baby, corner now.
And then all of a sudden he's like, Disney, I can do this. And then just, I think that Lumiere is the key to this movie in so many ways.
Could you imagine watching this movie, Ryan? This is just for me and Ryan a second. Could you imagine watching this movie and then being like, somebody did a better job than that guy and it's Beast?
Absolutely not.
No, yeah.
No, I mean, Robbie Benson had his voice turned down and like made more beast-like in the movie.
Yeah.
But Jerry Orbach, who in the live-action movie, have we talked about the live-action movie at all tonight?
No. And we're
why
not
did they
like-
add an hour? Why would
That's
they add
it.
an hour?
Okay, so we won't do it now.
That's as much as theory as you're getting. It should not exist.
But Jerry Orbach, they didn't hire a French guy, and he just nailed it, and he is the charisma of literally keeping Belle in the mansion. Like,
Yeah.
I will do what you say, French Jerry Orbach. And by the way, if you've never seen Jerry Orbach, he looks different than Lumiere.
Yeah.
Go look him up.
Definitely Jerry Orbach. Very good. How about director signature moment? This movie, it's a little weird with animated movies, but it has a director. It has two directors. Who do you think, or what do you think is their signature moment, Ryan?
Yeah, it is hard because we're not sure totally what they do. There is two, but I'm just gonna based on
Feels
watching.
like supervisor. When it's an animated movie, it feels like they're everyone has to like tell them what's up with what they're doing.
Draw that again.
Yeah.
Why did you do that?
He should be a beast.
Why did you draw him like a beauty?
I'm going to lunch.
It's a 4-hour lunch.
But I'm gonna pick the end when Belle is reaching out and Gaston is coming back to life, and just that fucking really my vote is for the castle. I cannot believe what that castle looks like. It's so dark and twisted,
Yeah.
and unbelievably awesome. Like, it looks so good.
It's so thin and tall that like when you look through the gate, it fits in between the two walls of the gate. It's narrower than the gate itself.
And live action shit either has to go scout a location like this or CGI it, and I hate both of those.
Yeah, dude.
I like this drawn ass version.
I hate scouting.
There's a point where Beast hides in the shadows of this castle, and Gaston walks right past him. Because Gaston's like, yeah, that's just a shadow of this castle. You know, like that's how these castles work.
Or when Gaston like straight up attacks a gargoyle because he thinks it's Beast. All right, so
and just like and the weather around it, like the lightning, like it's so scary but not, and it's the Beast. You know, he's scary on the outside, warm on the inside. This castle is my director's moment.
ooh, nice, Mike. What do you say?
I think so. This duo, Gary Truesdale and Kirk Wise, would go on to do Hunchback of Notre Dame and Atlantis: The Lost Empire, and we all feel different things.
I'm sorry,
about
did you
these
say
three Disney
Atlantis?
movies.
Atlantis.
So like the story of the Jagged Little Pill.
Yeah, they did that documentary that just came out, and I think it has to the swooping shot of it's during the Beauty and the Beast song, but you can see the hall ballroom and the camera is actually moving and it feels like a camera, and it compensates how big this area is, and it's beautiful. All their movies have a moment like that where it's just like, I know we're animated, you don't have to look at the camera. In Hunchback, it's when they're doing the Festival of Fools and the camera's like moving through it and it feels like it's on a crane.
It goes around him like at the top of the belfry.
And then in Atlantis, Morissette, The Lost Empire, it's when you first see the Lost Empire at the bottom, it's like, look at this majestic town. Like they do this swoop that you don't see in animated movies a lot.
Well, you know what?
Mike.
I like that. That's a good choice, my man. Ryan, what about the cringe factor? Are we cringing?
Oh, we are cringing hard, and we've already discussed how like Stockholm syndrome and blah blah
this
blah.
movie's bad in some ways.
But here's how we're actually cringing. You found a person named Mr. Cogsworth and you turned him into a clock.
How dare you?
Mrs. Potts and you turned her into a teapot. Like you're turning people's last names back in on them, and that is like, did this enchantress go through the time of not just like, I'm casting a spell on you, Beast, but also I'm going to make all of these other servants
she
become
interviewed
the
them.
appliances that their last name most
The universe is deterministic, right? So that's why. I mean, it's like that's a clear sign that everything is a simulation, at least for Beauty and the Beast.
I'm sorry, Enchantress Ayn Rand, but that makes me cringe.
Yeah, Beauty and the Beast is a Calvinist work, I think.
What do you think, Mike?
It is the line, promise or no promise, I can't stay here another minute, and then she takes off. You don't have to follow any promise, kids, that you made under coercion of your father's life. And so it really rubbed me the wrong way. She owes him nothing, and for the movie, even to pretend for a second she owes the Beast something because her word of honor grossed me out.
I agree. There's a moment in this movie where it's like, well, yeah, she could leave when he gets attacked by wolves and decides to save his life instead. And when you're watching it, you're like, oh, so now she's here by choice. And then she's like, I gotta go see my sick dad. And he's like, you're free to leave. And it's like, oh, wait, so she was your prisoner that whole time in your mind still?
Did you guys get a little bit of like Judy Garland or Eliza Minnelli from her performance?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
Was she doing that on purpose?
That's something that went over my
I'll never leave, Beast.
Oh,
I'll
yeah.
never leave.
Oh, yeah, she's wearing that blue dress.
Uh-huh.
Like, man, I never
Dizzy.
realized it. When I was a kid, that sort of thing didn't dawn on me, but she
Sure.
is so obviously trying to give that,
Oh,
right?
my goodness.
All right, how about recommendations, Mike?
I think if you are interested in a woman who's a little weird in her role and people judging her for it, and a dude who needs to learn how to be good, you would love the now 6 full seasons on Netflix show Lucifer. And there's music all the time.
I thought straight up Mike was going to say, you'll love being a thruple with me and my wife.
Think about it. Really look into it.
We
We
see you
noticed
across
your
the bar.
vibe from across the bar. All right, Ryan, what do you recommend?
Lucifer's good, man. I never
outside
thought to
the
compare
box.
it to Beauty and the Beast. I'm thinking about a absolute smoke show of a woman with a fucking terrible person. And the older I get, the more terrible he is. And to me, that's Everybody Loves Raymond. I would like to recommend. I think the standout of the mid '90s. Hey, look how this fucking absolute toolbox married a smoke show. And every year I watch it, I love my wife more. I try to be better, and I realize that he is the absolute biggest piece of shit that has ever lived.
It's hard to watch these shows that came before Kevin can fuck himself. The show that all about how like these husbands are like, they're not bad husbands. It's not that they're probably pretty average
They
dudes,
are.
but they're bad fucking people.
Where's
though.
my grilled cheese?
They're sociopaths. They
Yeah.
do nothing for the people that they have joined their life to.
They don't care about their wives, their children. Like,
And they're the fucking victim of everything
Right.
in their mind. In their personal story, they're beset by a henpecking wife and by annoying children.
and we would root for them, and we'd be like, we would cheer for them. Like, you could hear the
Yeah.
audience be like, he'd walk in and be like, "Where's my grilled cheese?" And everybody would be like, "Woo!"
Yeah,
Give
get
him
that
his
cheese.
grilled cheese.
Get that GC.
Which is not the best chant, but it's a chant.
Raymond shouldn't have to take out the heaviest garbage, Deborah.
Those are both very interesting recommendations. My own recommendation is, there's kind of a shout out to it in this, but books.
Check them out.
Do me a favor, everybody. Let's go back to reading some books. I think that
You're not talking about McKenna from Unnatural 20s.
no,
Don't check her out. She's married. Come on.
No, yeah, but I love McKenna. Obviously, books is a great nickname. It could apply to, I think, more than one person.
Oh,
even.
man. Mike, do you ever think about the fact that Greg is pissed that his nickname isn't Books and it's
We should
McKenna?
probably start calling them books. They both have
Yeah,
curly
let's
hair.
call him Books.
For the first 2 years I knew her, I was like, I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to try to steal your nickname. Like, there's not much I can do about it. I just don't think, I'm so upset that she got people to agree to call her Books, and they do it all the time, and even I do it.
Well, to be fair, Mike and I have read books before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you didn't seem that crazy. But Caitlin and Cassie have never read a book.
They are
And
real
so,
Gastons when it comes to books. They throw them
couple
in
of
mud.
Gastons over
They
there.
read them upside down and say, I don't get how you enjoy this.
Why do they always have books upside down with Playboys inside of them?
Woo, woo. Man, either one of those girls would not want to see a Playboy for even 1 second. Honestly, now that we're out of the 90s, I think we can agree. What an icky, terrible magazine.
Cardi B just became the creative director for the company Playboy.
I saw that.
I'm
it's
interested
more-
to see where the company
it's more
goes.
of a lifestyle brand now.
Yeah.
Than, I don't even know if there still is a magazine.
I don't think so.
But if there was, I'd read it for the article.
there's not a Mad magazine, so why even have magazines?
Yeah.
I'm mad to hear that. When we come back, I'm going to tell you who won the show, and we're going to talk about whether or not Beauty and the Beast could win the whole frickin' season. I try to have the tension level of when I announce the winner be commensurate with the score. So, Mike, you scored 58 points, which is the most anyone's ever scored. Ryan,
Holy shit.
you scored 40.
Wow.
That is the most anybody has ever lost by.
There's no real reason for it, so I'm just the best at watching movies.
Now, I have to ask Greg, because I think that I've won every episode so far this season.
Yeah.
Did I make a little drum beat and then dance like that and then rub it in Mike's face at all?
That is the drum beat that plays when the audience cheers, right? But we don't. I haven't been using that sound, so Mike has just been. He's been a lot like this.
So now Zoidberg is big, huh?
He's so proud to finally be big.
Well, let's just say
58
this.
points big, though.
Mike might be your best friend, but he's now my worst enemy.
Oh,
I always have been.
I hate to hear that. Darn it.
I want to give it up and say, Ryan, you're correct. You have not done a drum beat every time you win. But to say you've never rubbed it in my face means you have fucking zero touch with reality, my friend.
All I do is send you a note in the mail, from the USPS.
26 pages front and back.
Covered in
Ryan.
potpourri that says, I'm sorry you lost, but here's why I won. And I just list ways for you to get better.
Listeners,
I'm just trying
know
to teach you
the things you do and say. You can't avoid the tape.
I have to say, this is an animated movie for children, and it includes people singing instead of just saying what they mean. And right now, it is my number one with a bullet. I think this fucking movie is going to win 1991's Movie of the Year. I've never been so delighted. I'm not saying it's the best movie we've ever seen. I have never enjoyed watching a movie for this show more than I enjoyed watching this movie.
Here's why it loses. Or here's why it wins, actually. Let's say Barton Fink speaks to me more than any movie this year. And
you can almost hear it.
And Greg has T2. I think Greg is fucking covered at T2. And Mike has Silence of the Lambs.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Beauty and the Beast rises and wins. It could totally happen.
I see it. I see it happening when we are squaring the movies off against one another. I could see the enthusiasm being just so high for this movie. Do we have the balls to do it though? Do we have the balls to look people in the
we're
eye
pussies.
And be like,
but I think Barton Fink is so 1940 or whatever it was, and we're like, oh, I don't know, but what animated movies get away with, it's also a period piece, but it's so 1991. I know it takes place in fantastical France, but it's very 1991.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, is that I think about all the characters I met and all the songs I heard on this journey, and I'm not trying to be an asshole. All the songs I heard on this journey, that movie was 91 minutes.
Yeah, dude.
That's gonna make it win.
Yeah.
That's
1991 minutes.
Also, just be the amount of minutes that the year that you came out from.
That's pretty effective. I foresee big things for it. I was so delighted. I'm so glad we did it. It's the movie that I was maybe least excited about for this season. And I swear, within 1 minute, I texted both you guys, like, this is so beautiful. I can't believe it. I love it.
Within 1 minute, you texted us both, I want to fuck this duster, which is crazy.
Yeah.
She wasn't even in there yet.
I know you want your nickname to be Books, but your nickname is Fuck Duster.
I'm a duster buster. I can't help it, my friends.
Dustin makes me feel good.
I want to get up in them feathers and see what's going on. Well, what's going on with the rest of this season is Silence of the Lambs. We have a very special episode about JFK coming up. We threw together a mixtape for you. We talked about some of the most interesting franchises and how they're doing. All that is still to come. But until it does, do me a favor, would you? Keep watching them movies.